So happy Wednesday. So good to see everyone. So glad you could make it. I was like, yeah, come. It's gonna be perfect. Perfect to come in from the coffee shop.
Oh my gosh, and I love the casting of those breasts in the back. I just
Thank
got mine done on New Year's Eve.
Did you?
Yeah,
Amazing.
I'm so
Oh,
excited.
that's such a great idea for New Year's. I love it. And Elena and Luxiana, Nick, so good to see everyone. Okay. So I'm really excited for today's session. It was inspired by Kaya, actually, who I don't know if she'll make the call or not, but she had this really brilliant question. And I thought, oh, first of all, my thought was, I don't know how to answer that in 5 minutes. I was like, this is not a 5 minute answer in the least. So I thought this is actually great. Let's make this the theme of today's call. So her two questions were, how do you regulate your nervous system for expansion? And then on the other side of that was, how do you bring your nervous system online to hold or match the depth of your desire? Because, like, our desires are like seeds, right? Like, we plant them and we put them out to the universe, and then the universe and our sort of our personal matrix starts to reconfigure so that we may receive our desire. That refiguration is what can feel very uncomfortable for us in this human body with which has a nervous system, right? Um, you might even have experienced yourself where you put out a desire and then you're like, oh my God, you feel like if you've been on a call and you say it and then after you're like, oh my God, was that okay to say that? Like, was that desire too big? Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have shared it, right? We go into that, like, the vulnerability hangover is what I call it. Um, or we can experience contraction, or we do something that steps us deeper into our desire, and then we feel the stretch that comes with it. And so how do we go through this journey with our desires from seeding it to receiving it without collapsing and just like forever falling into a pit of rupture? That's not going to serve any of us. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to get us the desire. We don't want to live there. So what else do I want to say on top of that? Um, as everybody's still hopping in to join us. So we know, of course, we're going to talk about desire. Under the umbrella of desire, there are things around, well, desires can be around money, can be around pleasure, expression, leadership, family, travel, all of these things. So desire is not the problem, right? Like, if I say to each of you right now, just let pop to mind a desire that you currently have. Something will come to mind. So it's not, desire isn't the problem. It's the nervous system that panics, especially when desire starts to expand faster than our body feels resourced to hold it. That's where we get like a kink in the hose. So, I mean, this call could be about how we get to regulate ourselves in those moments. Also, I just think many of you are also very resourced in that. So it's not, and even the work that I do, it's, of course, I work with tools. Tools are in my toolkit. It's part of also how I have trained myself to be able to hold more. But this call is more about like teaching your body that more is survivable, because that's ultimately what's happening, right? Like, our bodies like starts to go into that panic and thinks that we're actually trying to kill it. It's like, if anyone has ever tracked where, if you do get caught in the spiral and it's like, well, what's the outcome? I'm going to die. Like, this is going to kill me. It could go down the money hole to scarcity, right? Like, I remember when I was in a very, like, one of my like really big expansive portals with my business, And my husband's nervous system was coming online, where he was just like, you're gonna bankrupt us. What are you thinking? And then my stuff would get triggered, and uh, it was like, oh my God, am I a terrible mom? Oh my God, am I going to be able to feed my kids? Like we can really go down I'm going to die if I chase this desire. Sometimes I remember one of my coaches, she was a psychotherapist that transitioned out of psychotherapy into coaching because she was like, I can actually be of better service as a coach. I'm going to reach more people with my work. Being a coach. And her fear that she shared was, she was putting out these articles uh, with really impactful messages. And she was like, oh, I can't publish this. People are literally going to want to hunt me down and kill me for saying these things. And so that was like how her nervous system was trying to protect her, was like, you can't grow and expand because you can't put these articles out because you will die. And like Lexiana said, like, we are not going to die if we get everything we want. Quite the opposite. Like, our desires are by function about the opposite. Our desires are not here to kill us. So what do we do, right? What we get to work with is capacity. So it's not regulating ourselves as a part of it. It's not about regulating, though. Capacity grows when sensation is allowed to move, right? So that's why embodiment feels so good. The key part of that is when it is allowed to move without urgency, which is why as business owners, anytime we're going after any desire, when we are pushing ourselves to hustle, like when there is push, it's so exhausting and it knocks us out because we're putting urgency into the outcome. It does not work for us, especially in this feminine body. So that is what we want to practice. And the answer to the question for those who were just hopping on, today's call was based on a couple questions, that being, how do you regulate your nervous system for expansion? How do you bring your nervous system online to hold or match the depth of your desires? For me, like, and why it's not an easy answer, like the question is, first of all, it is my life's work. That literally is what I do to feed my soul's mission, but it's also the foundation of my business. So I don't teach nervous system regulation as a tool. I know I just said that. I'm going to repeat it. And I will teach that. And I do teach tools. But what the bigger, more rooted essence of that is to teach devotion as a way of living. So it's like, how do we get to be devoted? It is also why I think pleasure is an art form. If you think about when you are turned off, the last thing you actually want to do is reach for pleasure. When we're in pleasure, it feels good and it's easy and it's amazing. When we are not in pleasure, we want nothing to do with pleasure, actually. It's like when we are exhausted and in our comfiest like sweatpants and sweatshirt and like curled up in a ball in our bed, shoving our mouth with cookies, like the last thing we want to do is get up and put lipstick and lingerie on. We're like, ew, that feels gross. Oh, it feels amazing when we feel good, not when we don't. So it is a devotional path. And that's the way that I also see the priestess work. It is a devotional path. You can hear it might be called the rose path, the priestess path, the left-handed path of the feminine path. Like there's all these other titles that we can give it, but it is a devotional path. And devotional in the sense that it is an art, it requires discipline. There is a muscle that we have to build so that we have the strength and stamina to reach for it. Does that resonate? Like, let's just see a show of hands who's like, yeah, this is very true for me. It is not easy all the time. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So the other side of of also working the muscle for devotion is that the nervous system expands when it is consistently met with safety. Like safety is core for the nervous system. It also expands when it's consistently met with pleasure. Pleasure is an expander in essence. Honesty, which is also why when we see a woman showing up in just true expression of rage, grief, turn on, whatever it is, it's so moving and powerful because it's honest. And also with containment. And containment is huge in that we can't have safety without containment. Uh, One thing that's also valuable with containment is um, like communities in itself. So whether community provides containment because there feels like there is a collective energy there where things are held. This to me is the value of coaching spaces, is because again, I love, the Modern Priestess, for example. It's my free community. There isn't the level of containment that I can offer in that. It just isn't comparable to the level of containment that is offered in spaces where people have invested, right? Like they're, for one, they're smaller. And so it's a lot easier when I have a group of 10 women, I'm tracking those storylines because there's that energetic investment. It's a lot harder to track when we have huge communities of like 100 plus. So although there is containment in the collective energy of the group, that container or the containment of mentorship is different. And that's one of the things that I value so much when I'm investing in the mentorship spaces that I'm in. So we need safety, pleasure, honesty, containment allows us consistency so that we don't feel pushed when we are connecting to our desires or asking for more. And that is also why, this work isn't just about motivation, why it's about capacity, and these other elements. It's all about capacity. Okay, the other thing is I don't regulate for expansion just once. And I know this resonates for all of you, right? Like life does not just give us like one wild incidence and then like, yay, it's over, right? We like don't complete it. Like, yay, I am so glad I never have to experience that rupture again. No. The goddess loves us. And in her love, she's like, we'll be sure to pass us these tests time and time again. So we don't just regulate for expansion once and then we're like, complete. It's just not how it works. There's always more. And we can also see this with desires, right? Like it's not like we ever just have like one desire and then we're like, no more desires. We always, in our expansion, realize that actually there is even more there for us. That's kind of like the double-edged sword of desire and pleasure, but also, I mean, it's like the bonus of it, but also the detriment. So when I say this is like also I devote my life to this is what I mean is the consistency, right? Like I devote my life to becoming someone who can continually be with more. That might resonate with you, feel into that. Sometimes I know sometimes people are like, but I don't like discomfort. I choose like discomfort is my compass. It's like, okay, what actually makes me uncomfortable right now? That's where I need to go. Some people will straight up be like, the devotional path is not for everyone. Some people are like, I hate discomfort. Why would I want that? That's great. This path wasn't made for those people. And they probably won't have the more that you find yourself set out for. The other thing with this is like our nervous system doesn't just suddenly learn to hold desire. It's like that same thing of like, oh, yay, I got through that thing and now it's done. We also don't just like get to wake up one day and be like, oh, great, I'm just like ready to hold this. I mean, if that would be so nice. That would be so nice, but it's very unrealistic. We learn it because we do work the tools, we do stay consistent, we are willing to get uncomfortable. It also requires things like we have to stop abandoning ourselves, not just ourselves, but we also have to stop abandoning our desires. Um, One of the things I love about desire lists is being able to like actually reflect and be like, okay, whoa, this desire came to me. But it's fun to go back and be like, whoa, that desire didn't come to me. And it's really easy to see why, right? Because we will put energy towards acquiring certain desires. The desires that don't manifest are the ones that probably got pushed to the back burner. Not saying that we've completely abandoned it, but it didn't get the same energy. So we have to stop abandoning ourselves. Um, Stop chasing expansion without containment, right? Like containment is something that allows us to be able to go and ride the waves. I truthfully will say, and I can't was talking, I must have been with a client. In full honesty, I would not be where I am without mentorship and the communities that I have. I wouldn't. Could I get to where I am on my own? Absolutely. I'm a badass babe and I'm not going to give up. So on my own, I would get here. I probably would still be like 5 or 6 years away from getting here if I tried to tell myself I was going to do this alone. And to be honest, when I think about like the really dark moments that I've been in on this journey, I don't know. I really don't know if I could have done it on my own, because it's hard. And I also stopped asking my body to tolerate um, what my life wasn't resourced for. So this is like a really great question to ask yourself routinely too, is like, what am I actually tolerating? Um, on our kinky business call yesterday, we had this really great conversation about time management. And so there was one woman who was saying, um, she's like, time is her big thing. She doesn't have enough time. How does she have more time freedom? But then she was like, I have a really hard time on my calls. If we're just getting like, on a coaching call, we're just getting into like the meatiness of something. And then we're at the top of the hour. And then I just, I give my time away to them. I just stay on the call until we get through the thing. Um, so not that there's a boundary that's getting blurred there, and she's tolerating, time. She doesn't have enough of it, but she's tolerating that she's also giving away a certain degree of her value. Instead of saying, we can continue this, would you like, would you like me to send you an invoice for an extra 30 minutes? Or we table this and we get to dive back into it on our next call, right? There's a level of what we are willing to tolerate. And there's a respect thing there for her time, right? So that she's not tolerating a particular boundary around value, which is why she also still feels like she doesn't have enough time. She's willing to honor it for herself, but she's giving it away in other situations. So what are we still willing to tolerate? For me, like right now, I have like this absolute love for the land that my home is on. It's a very, very unique piece of land. Also, my husband has put a lot of love, like he built my office, he built us a sauna. But our house is way too small. It's busting at the seams. So I'm tolerating like being squeezed into this too tiny of a house. And we went and looked at a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and it just someone swiped it up the evening after we went and looked at it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna feel that. Like I just thought, oh, I could feel the expansion. And so energetically, like what we are tolerating has a ripple impact into the world. My body had an opportunity to feel what could be created if I didn't feel like we were cracking at the seams inside this house. As much as I love it, something needs to shift. And then also we do this by building devotion, because like I said, devotion is a practice. So by building devotion, rhythm, which could look like consistency with touch, which is why somatic embodiment pleasure practices are so impactful, and truth. So the more that we are giving ourselves spaces where we get to be vulnerable and honest and authentic and clear, these all feed how we're capable of holding desire. So those questions feel like really impossible for me to answer quickly, because the real answer is we have to change how we live. I also don't really see that like regulating for expansion is like there's a particular technique. It's the training, and training means, again, consistency. Training means days where we are playing our nervous system in ways with pleasure, with power, with money, with intimacy, visibility, training the nervous system with those things so that we are training it to be able to stretch into the more without collapsing, as well as without dissociating. And when I say dissociating, like all the ways we try to resist actually letting ourselves have our desires. Oh, that's so cute. It's so cute when we can catch ourselves in the ways that we were like, oh, it's right there. And we can literally reject it. There's all the times where we are like striving for something and we can be doing like the literal Biff crawl, right? Like reaching for it and like longing, like, why can't I have it? When is the God that's going to give it to me? And then there's times where it's like right there and you just turn it away. Humanity is a hilarious thing sometimes. Okay. So, and we can summarize, drop that down into like, how do we do that? Daily embodied devotion, daily practices. And we've done so many practices together. We breathe, we're breathing every moment of the day, right? Like it could just be 30 seconds where we do focused breathing. It could be 1 minute of sensual touch. It could be 10 minutes of dancing, right? So there's no way we can come up with excuses for why we wouldn't be allowing ourselves daily embodied devotion. And also, you're probably doing it a lot more than you even realize. So we can also be really hard on ourselves. Learning to feel sensation without immediately acting. So, like, where we're actually taking it out of our body. So we're trying to be embodied, but we're not actually dropping into the body, or numbing it, right? So there's like sometimes with sensation, we just numb out. The other thing is choosing environments to match the level that you're stepping into. Proximity is so huge in terms of creating the outcome, as well as letting desire move through your body. So that's like part of what I love about working with the feminine, is like connecting to that really honey, like slow, luscious sensation of the feminine instead of rushing to go and fulfill it. The feminine and embodiment does not like to be rushed. We all know that, right? Like if we put ourselves in an intimate moment, like we're not going to get anywhere if our partners are rushing us. We just like our bodies know that. So expansion is a relationship. It's not just a mindset shift. It's part of it, but that's not going to fix it. And if your desire feels bigger than your capacity, remember that is not a problem. Your desire should feel bigger than your capacity. That's that discomfort piece. Follow, if you dare to follow the discomfort, that means that you've actually got a really great desire, because it's going to expand you. So it's not a problem. It's actually just an initiation, which hopefully turns you on a little bit. And also remember that it's not supposed to be done alone. You can, I know every single one of you is an incredibly, insanely powerful goddess who could do it on her own, but you're not meant to. So let's just play with a really simple way that we can feel this in our body. And okay, let me put on a song. So if everyone can just drop into the thread, type in again a desire, big, small, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like the one that is all consuming. If it is, and you're super devoted to it, put it in. But just drop in a desire. It's so interesting you say that too, Lexiana, because like it's not right. Because we can, when we're doing this, we can quantum leap, like it can happen overnight. Like I said, we're not just going to wake up and it's going to be changed. But when we're playing with desires, we can wake up and just and have desires come to us. Um, but it has to do with the devotion and consistency um, of your actions. Okay, consistent 20 to 30K months. Great. Desire to be a comedian. Oh my God, yay, I want to come see you. 20K months. Doing work I love. Yes, so good. And so it is. Holding a lot more money and resources. I love that it's that you put money and resources. So good. And I mean, ultimately, too, when we're putting down that we like desire whatever amounts of money, it's not just the money we're desiring, it's what we're going to be able to do with what freedom the money is going to allow in our lives. Okay. So with this practice, those of you who know the yes move, we're going to kind of play with that. I decided to be an entrepreneur, to be offering and sharing my gifts and working with thousands of women, starting my fun, sexy business with a regulated nervous system. Amen. 300K year working for my connection with source, my feminine mystical connections. And so it shall be. Okay, these are so good. So as we hold these desires, like we can collectively look at this, right? Like what pops out at the top of my head. Um, 20 to 30K months. Uh, and I know this is, so I'm saying head because this is usually where what gets in the way. It's like, oh God, right. What does a tax year with 20 to 30K months look like? Okay, gonna have to hold that. Um, where am I going to have to, when I'm making that much money, what kind of bills and expenses, and especially if it's like in my business, like what business expenses are going to be on top of that, that my nervous system wouldn't already be holding. I was like, that's a big leap, especially as a business owner, right? What grows with you, because inevitably it does. The comedian, okay, right. If you're a comedian, maybe your nervous system has to get used to like, oh, right, being in front of like 5,000 people performing instead of maybe, like the 100 that you're used to. Just like simple things like this, right? This is the gap that shifts when we're going through expansion. Um, what's another one? Yeah, those are the ones that are coming up to me. I'm just thinking like with the resources, when we're calling in more resources, what is required for us to expand to be able to hold the resources that we're calling in. So these are all these things that, when we're playing with desires, is way more delicious to just focus on the desire than the other human parts, right? Ugh. Why do we want to dampen the pleasure of our desires, having to think about the reality? But we are human and reality comes with these desires. Also, it's all going to be okay and it will all work out because we will be faced with, if we didn't see them, the goddess will show them to us. right? So we're going to have to face it. And just like you've done all the times before, you will figure it out, right? So it's this back to this, like our desire is not going to kill us. It might make us work. But also we've done that all our whole lives to get here. So it's okay. Um, Energetically, this is where those things that we're going to be like dreading, right? Where we want to get on and a call with someone and do a quantum clearing or do a spring clean and digest, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm calling for this, but I'm going to go with Katie, your comedian thing, right? Like, okay, shit, I am doing a show in front of five. This is also very real for me. Like, as I'm preparing for this Toronto Tantra event, I'm used to holding containers of like 10 to 20 women in person. Having to go and hold space for 50 people, I didn't see it coming. I'm terrified. I have no reason to be terrified. I know it's going to be amazing. I feel so stretched and I'm terrified. So, all of these things that we start to realize that we have to just like, I got to yes this. This is happening. My desires are coming to me. So, we're going to yes the 5,000 people or the 50 people. We're going to yes the tax year and whatever the fuck that's going to look like. Right. So, with your desire, we're going to do the yes move, but we're going to do it with sensual. So it's like a pleasurable yes move. So when I put the song on, and if you want to unmute so we can hear each other's whispers, but just like starting to yes the things that might make you feel uncomfortable with your desire. Even with a house, like, oh, I want the 5-bedroom house, but I don't want to go through the sales process and packing and moving, letting go of this house. But so I'm going to turn it on. This is how I get to love my nervous system in these moments with expansion. Like I'm going to, yes, all of the things that I want to know, essentially. Right. So, but we're going to do it with loving touch. So it's like, yes, we get to be in service to 50 incredible people. Yes, I'm going to feel so alive in my body as I get ready to open that room. Yes, all of these people are going to be sitting and waiting and ready for whatever I'm going to bring them into that night. Yes. Oh, these people are going to leave this room so turned on. So we start with like, this is what I love about yes moves is start with the things that you don't want. But as you're doing that, you might actually start to like get excited and turned on about the things that will also come with it. So is there any questions around this? Okay, let's give it a go. And again, feel free to unmute. I think it's always sexy. It gives like something to the nervous system when we hear someone else's share. And just trying to find the right song. Let's go with this one. So we'll hold that desire, any of the things that might get in the way, and you are just going to say yes to them seductively. Oh, that was from yesterday's call. It was Britney Spears, just in case anyone wanted to know. Yeah. Yeah. So hot. My body. One event is an elite tens of other. Gorgeous. Oh, good. Can you let it feel in your body? And that was just 2 minutes. Dropping in for 2 minutes. Okay, what's here? What did you feel? What did you notice? Playing with your desires, playing with your nervous system in this way. Elena. Ah, I'm getting it wrong. I had it right the first time.
Elena. Oh, you had it
Okay.
right the
Oh, I
second
did.
time.
Okay.
Yeah. What to do? Someone show me how to spell it better, and I will.
I just have to remember. It's like AY, Elena. A. I don't know. I'll remember that.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can write it down for me. What makes sense?
I'll have to put it on the corner of the screen.
Yeah.
Remember Elena.
Yeah. Thank you. I think kind of the obvious thing. It's so helpful. It's just bringing the softness and beauty of pleasure to things that feel so anachronistic to that. Like I was thinking about having an accountant for the taxes to figure out my uber complicated tax situation because I've lived in 5 countries. Like, like that's such a like mental horrible construct, but like turning that into pleasure,
Yeah.
wow, it just like melts. It's really lovely.
Yeah.
That's what I felt about that.
So good. And I mean, this is such a also, the global citizen is really expanding. And this is so real for those of people who are all over the world all the time and working in multiple different countries. So yeah, and I mean, even just saying that, right? Like there's pleasure. Oh my God, I get to figure out how to do my taxes um to fulfill this life where I get to be in all these different countries. That's hot right from the core. Right? It's incredible. Okay. And
Fair.
it's just,
That's
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm doing what I love, so that's also awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this practice, and even just how you relate it to us, like feeling the ease, like it can be easy. There might be moments where it doesn't, but like how can we train ourselves to bring ease into it?
And I feel like there's some like the word collision is not the right one, but there's some like kind of melding that happens there that wouldn't happen if the melding of like this really intense mental energy that needs to go into it with pleasure, like the melding of those two things is really lovely. Like it just shifts all of it.
And it's energetic. Like what you're
Mm.
speaking about is just, it's an energetic thing that you're doing, which
Mm.
to me, we hear all the time as within, so without, but you're finding words to kind of express that melding, and it is just an energetic thing. And also that's part of the devotional thing, is trusting that when you give yourself that 2 minutes, it actually allows for something that we can't see with our eyes, but that some kind of a spaciousness has happened for something to happen that makes it easier. Yeah.
And the last thing I want to share is that um, I often tell my clients to do micro practices, like really short ones.
Yeah.
And I'm surprisingly very impressed at how much depth I felt in that short of a time, like how powerful that is. So that's one of those take my own advice. So thank you for
Yay. Yeah, you are so brilliant, Elena.
Well, I think you are. So thank you.
Why it's why we don't do it alone, because we get reminders when we're around each other. Yeah,
Brilliant.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you for those frames. Sharon.
One, it didn't feel like 2 minutes. It was like 30 seconds. It was like 2 minutes already. You've got to be joking. And I loved that. And I loved how juicy the things that my head has been fighting suddenly started to feel. And there was this beautiful flow between the parts that I'm really looking forward to doing to achieve what I want to achieve, but also the same level of juicy anticipation, alignment, aliveness in the parts I've been resisting. And it's like all of a sudden it could all be joyful and easy and not necessarily easy, but with ease. And there was parts of me going, there's things I've been resistant to putting out because of what people may or may not say, giving the feedback, etc. And to be able to be just open to receiving whatever that brings with that same level of openness and desire and anticipation and yeah, just this joyful, open receptivity is the word I'm looking for all of it was really quite different to anything I've experienced when I've had those same sort of, oh, I really want this. Oh, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this. And I love
Yeah.
the ebb and flow between the two. It was almost like, I think Elena said the word, the weaving of it all into the one energy. And I love that. So I hadn't experienced that before. And I'm trusting if I continue, or as I continue to do this practice on a daily basis, because there's some big things I've got to work on. I'm choosing to work on at the moment. If I want this year to be different to last, I need to do something different.
Yeah.
And I know that I need to do it, and I've still gone back to our pattern of no. So I think doing this rewiring around it will help me start to take those baby steps into starting to open those doors more effectively. That's what I'm trusting.
Yeah. And honestly, the micro practices that Elena was talking about, I mean, I actually think, some people are like, well, how do I do like my priestess rituals like you? And I'm like, I'm a wife, a mom, a business owner, and I need time for myself. Like it's all micro practices. Uh, Not always. I do try to schedule one big chunk of time, like a good 2 to 3 hour chunk every week, but like once a week. And sometimes once a week actually is once every 2 weeks. Like others, it is all micro practices. And I think that we actually, like the repetition, like you were saying, Sharon, because it is when we start to do it with ease, the micro practices let us do it with ease. And the repetition and consistency of micro practices is what actually starts to create the momentum and speed where we do start to see that quantum leaping, and it's like that place where you talk to a girlfriend on Tuesday and then on Friday, and it's like, you've lived like 3 different lives in between. So yeah, you're totally on to something, and I am very excited for you with what you are choosing to create this year. Okay, this was juicy, and I love those reflections. Even yeah, 2 minutes. 2 minutes actually sounds like a long time, but just is look at what's possible. So I'm so glad that we have this space to consistently connect every week and drop into these together. If you want more like this, I will just put out the reminder that there is the erotic temple on Thursdays at 1 p.m. That is, if you want another half-hour space. it functions a little bit different than this one in that it is purely about embodiment. We come in and we're working a tool for 30 minutes. So if you want a space where you can have that commitment to the embodiment, that's definitely the place to be. It's a really juicy space. And I'm such a tool whore, so I love having that space to connect with. And so reach out. It is in the Modern Priestess thread, the link, if you want to jump in there. And otherwise, I will see you babes next Wednesday. I'm going to put a song on so we can get up and dance out if anyone wants to. And thanks for coming today.
And could you tell us the name of the song you played?
Oh, yes. I'll drop it. Ooh. Elena, are you in the Modern Priestess thread? Yeah, I'll drop it in there for you. Okay.
Thanks, Meg.
You're welcome, goddesses.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Thursday one is not recorded. You want to be there live. Yeah, it's early for you.
Roll up your sleeves and face to face is looking right back at me. It's easier to leave it, it's easier to fake it, So I go and I join the free. There's people there that just like me. Everything is gonna be alright.
Love you, goddesses.